the sound of the drums, and the sound of the shakeré means it's time for the Griot Storytelling Circle. Welcome to our show today. I'm Sister Martha Ruff, your griot or your storyteller. And this is a new year, 2015. A happy new year, a happy new year. I wish you a happy new year. Good luck and good cheer throughout all the year. I wish you a happy new year. I wish you good cheer, good luck and good cheer. I wish you a happy new year. Good food and good friends, and joy without end. I wish you a happy new year. The new year is always a time to stop and think about what we want to do different this year. Stevie Wonder wrote a song, and his songs are just like poems. And he shared a way that I like to start the new year, and it's called With a Child's Heart. With a child's heart, go face the worries of the day. With a child's heart, turn each problem into play. No need to worry, no need to care. Just being alive makes the world so very clear. With a child's heart, nothing can ever get you down. With a child's heart, turn each problem upside down. Love is as welcome as a sunny, sunny day, and the whole world smiles with you as you go your merry way. With a child's heart. And that's Stevie Wonder. And for those of you who love Stevie Wonder, I'm sure you're going to look for that song and hear With a Child's Heart. Well, one of the things that some of you are doing is ending your celebration of Kwanzaa, a 7-day African American celebration that looks at some of the principles that we could follow throughout the year. And one of those principles is Kuumba. Kuumba means creativity. And so make 2015 a year for you to be creative. How about being creative like the snail and when the animals had their meeting? Now, there's a story that talks about a time when the animals talked just like people. Some people say that the lion is the king of the animals, but the animals know that the elephant is the king of the animals because the elephant is as tall as a building. The elephant has big ears like a palm leaf, and the elephant has a long trunk that makes big, loud noises. And so it went all over the animal kingdom when the chief, the elephant, called a meeting of the animals. Come to the big plain on the full moon and gather everyone. And so all the animals got the word. The word went out to the birds up in the sky. The word went out to the fish down in the rivers. The word went out to the lions and the tigers and the bears. All the animals got ready. And as the days passed and the moon got bigger and bigger, there came the night of the full moon. And if you've ever been out on a full moon night, you know it was just like daylight. And the animals gathered in the plains as the elephant walked back and forth, waving his trunk, flapping his ears, and making enough noise so that all the animals knew that he was in charge. And as the animals gathered, you could see them coming. The birds came first as they flopped across the sky and landed in the trees. And then the faster animals, like the cheetah, came running up with his silk body flowing and sitting by the elephant. Even the fish came to the river that flowed along the plains. You could see them close to the bank, except for the flying fish that were flying up out of the water. All of the animals came, and the elephant made sure that all the animals were there because the elephant took attendance. Lion, roar. Monkey, down the road the lion went, and each animal answered, "Here, present," until the elephant got to the snail. "Snail," called out the elephant. No answer. "Snail," called out the elephant. Still no answer. The elephant's trunk went up with a blast. "Where is the snail?" The snail was nowhere to be found. We'll discuss that later," said the elephant. And the elephant began the meeting. They talked about which animals were chasing which animals, and which animals' houses were encroaching on other animals' houses. And the meeting was just about over when the birds saw the snail coming. "The snail is coming, the snail is coming," said the birds. And it seemed like all of the animals wanted to see what was going to happen to the snail, who was late for the meeting. "The snail is coming, the snail is coming." Now the snail knew that he was in trouble, but he went as fast as he could with his one foot up to the elephant's chair and stopped and waited. "Well," said the elephant, "didn't you get the message?" "Yes," said the snail, "I got the message and I was coming as fast as I could." "What way did you come?" asked the elephant. "I took the shortest route," said the snail. "Well, why are you just getting here?" asked the elephant. "Well," said the snail, "I came as fast as I could," which isn't very fast because I only have one foot, "and I went and looked, and sometimes there were low branches that were poking me in the eye and I couldn't see very well. So I went back home and I decided the best way for me to get there was to bring my house with me. And so I brought my house with me and I took my time because I didn't want to get sick. You know how it is when it rains and it's wet and it's cold, and I didn't want to make you sick, Chief Elephant." And the elephant looked down at the snail and thought, "That little tiny snail thinks he can make great big me sick?" The elephant got a tickle that started at the bottom of his stomach and went all the way up until he let out a loud blast. Well, said the elephant, what a creative story you have, said the elephant. And for that, I'm not going to have you banished from the kingdom, but I am going to have to punish you. And so, from now on, your eyes will be at the tips of your horns, and you will be able to see forward and backward and left and right, and to put your eyes away so no sticks will go into your eyes. And also, you will carry your house around with you, and that way you will always be at home, and I can find you. And you know what? From that day until this very day, the snail has its eyes on its horns, and it carries its house on its back. And that's the reason why. And that's the end of that story. Well, I hope you're planning to make some changes in your new year, and you're not going to be like the snail and be, as the old folks would say, as slow as molasses or as slow as a snail. One of the ways that you can be creative is through music. And one type of music that African Americans have made is jazz. And one favorite book about jazz is just called Jazz. It's by Walter Dean Myers and illustrated by Christopher Myers. And in this book, you meet a lot of different jazz musicians, including Louis Armstrong. And this is a collection of poems about jazz. And this one says, Louis, Louis, how you play so sweet. Louis, Louis, how you play so sweet. What did you do down on Bourbon Street? I heard London, turned it black and blue. Heard Copenhagen, did it my way too. Heard a sad song, swung it into joy. Heard a bad tune, spanked it like a naughty boy. Louis, Louis, how you play so sweet. What have you heard down on Bourbon Street? And that's Jazz by Walter Dean Myers, illustrated by Christopher Myers. And you'll want to read the other jazz poems and then write your own poem about things that you love, whether it's music or sports, or maybe you love someone special and you could write a poem about them too. Someone who starts off their day right is someone that's going to have a great year all year long. So maybe some of you are thinking about being more spiritual during the year. And one person that has shown us how to do that is a friend of our president. And his name is Joshua Du Bois. And one thing that he helped the president with was having a devotion every day at the start of his day. Joshua Du Bois wrote devotionals, put together devotionals for President Barack Obama, and each day he would email the devotion to the president. so that the president could start his day off with a spiritual thought. And you can do that too. You can enjoy 365 devotions that are here in this book called The President's Devotional. And one of the things that was found that Joshua Du Bois shared with the president was a saying by Maya Angelou, the great poet and writer and teacher who wrote many books about her life. And Maya Angelou's, a quote from her says, "People will forget what you do. People will forget what you say. But people will never forget how you made them feel." And that's just one of the devotionals that Joshua Du Bois shared with President Barack Obama. And that's something that we can keep for ourselves as we go through this new year. To remember, how you make people feel is an important part of who you are and being a part of our community. Well, sometimes it's fun to have something funny about spirituality. And African Americans have created stories like that. And one of them is the story of how God made the butterflies. Now, God was just about to make a new world. And so he looked around and decided that he would gather up a little this and a little that and make the earth. A nice green and blue ball with water and land. And that was the beginning. And so God pushed the water to one side and the land to the other and made the lakes and the rivers and the valleys he pushed down with his hands. And God thought, that's a good beginning for my world. And so God went out and thought about it some more. And God thought, needs a little bit of landscaping. So God created the grass and the bushes and the flowers. "That's good," said God. And at the end of that day, God thought, I got a good start on my world, and tomorrow I'm going to make it even better. So God went to bed and was snoring when he heard some voices. Voices, teeny tiny voices, saying, "Sure is lonesome down here. Sure is mighty lonesome down here." Who was that waking God up? It was the flowers. Those flowers that God had created were down on the earth complaining. "What?" said God. "Complaints already? And the world is only one day old?" God couldn't believe it. God looked over at the earth and saw that the flowers should have been happy. But since they weren't, he was going to fix it. God called out, "Bring me my tiny shears." And a little angel, about this high, flew over and brought God these teeny tiny scissors. And God bent over to the earth and he snipped, snip, 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 snipped off of everything and anything. And all those little tiny pieces that God snipped off, they started fluttering around in the air, and they were butterflies. Now, there were white butterflies that had been cut from the sun, and blue butterflies that had been cut from the sky, and green butterflies cut from the trees. There were all color butterflies. And God said to the flowers, "Now, there's your company, and I'm going back to bed." And he did. And he pulled the covers over his head because he didn't want to hear any more complaints. Well, from that day until this very day, those little things are fluttering around. Maybe you've seen them. And those butterflies, if you want to find them, they're going to be right near the flowers because they were made to keep the flowers company. And that's what happened when God made the butterflies. Well, I really do wish you a happy new year and lots of good things happening to you this year of 2015. A happy new year, a happy new year. I wish you a happy new year. From your Griot, Martha Ruff.